So first we'll try to create a series. Once that is done, then we'll try to see which table stores the series definition and how we can retrieve the series data using a base tables. Okay, so first let's go with the series definition. So to create a new series or to modify a new series, the navigation is log into a business modeler. So there's something called configuration menu. Within that there is a configure series. Okay, once you are here, so these all are the existing series. It could be a seeded one or it may be the might be the custom one. Okay, it's very hard to identify which is a seeded series and which is a custom series. So generally what we suggest, or when we do implementations, right, or when we are creating a new custom series, we try to give a certain naming convention so that it can be easily identified or differentiated which is a seeded series and which is a custom series. Okay, so so before creating a series, right, I think last time we stopped at a lookup properties. Quickly I go through the remaining properties also, and then we'll try to create a new series. Okay, so I'll go to the data properties. So this is one of the main data property. So I'll take the same series example which we discussed last time. So this is one of the important data properties in a series definition. Okay, so data table specifies on which table you are trying to create a series. Okay, so series is nothing but a placeholder to store some data. So whenever creating a series, you should mention to which particular base table the series has to be attached and which column it refers. Okay, in this case, for example, there is history series. So I'm trying to create a history series on a sales data table. So whatever data I load to history series, whether it's through the transactional system or if you want to override, so whatever data I try to load, that goes and sits in actual underscore quantity column in sales data table. Okay, and there's a data type. What is the data type of that particular series? So it's a numeric, or it could be date type, or it could be a string type. So most of the cases we use numeric, and rare cases we use data and string options. I'll explain where we use those also. But 90% of series what is in Demantra, those are of number type. Okay, then you can ignore this synchronization part. And there's something called available for exceptions. So when you're going through the worksheet definitions, right, in the worksheet there was something called exception concept, where you want to filter the data based on the series numbers, based on the series, right? So if you enable this checkbox, this series is available for the exception in worksheets. Otherwise you will not see the series in the list of value when you try to do the exception on a worksheet. And the important property is a proportional. So whenever you are trying to load a data or when you are trying to update a series, right, so you want to proport the values, right? So the meaning, the proport meaning, like if you are loading a data at aggregated level, right, for example at a organization level, so within that organization you may have 10 customers. So what is the number you are loading at a customer level, sorry, at an organization level? You want to proport or you want to split that value across all the lowest levels or across all the customers which are there within that organization. So you'll specify to which series you want to proport, on which database or on which data or using which data you want to proport that value which you are loading to this particular series. Okay, then aggregate function. So when you are trying to read the series on a worksheet, so when you are playing with aggregation levels, right, if you are viewing the data at item level or organization level or item org level, so how you want to see the data, aggregate functionality, whether you want to sum up, whether you want to average it. Okay, so these are the list of functions what we have. So most of the cases we use sum or average function. Okay, so these are the important fields, you can ignore the remaining things. And this is one of the important area again, expression. So whenever you pull the date series on a worksheet, whatever data you see in a worksheet in that specific series, right, so that's mainly depends or retrieved or calculated based on the server expression or the client expression. Okay, I'll tell you the difference between the client and server expression. Basically, server expression is a calculated field, or I would say it's an expression written based on the database columns from a particular table. Okay, if you see here actual underscore quantity, it is getting from branch underscore data. So whenever I try to pull the history series on a worksheet, generally what it does is it will try to execute this expression. So whatever the value returned by this expression, that get displayed on a worksheet. Okay, so then our question comes is, what is this branch underscore data? So branch underscore data is nothing but it's a sales data table. Okay, so internally system refers sales data as a branch underscore data table. Okay, if I try to edit this expression, if I try to give sales data here, it will not accept that. So this is a CZ functionality, so we cannot change this. So we have to always refer the sales data with branch underscore data naming convention. Okay, wherever you see branch underscore data in the expression, that is nothing but it's a sales data table. So this is a server expression. And if you are trying to write expression on using more than one table, then you can use the from class and where class, similar like the SQL queries what we write. Okay. Since I'm using the expression, since I'm using only one column from one set of table, so that is the reason there's no from class and where class. Okay. This is about the server expression. So in simple terms, server expression always tries to retrieve the data from the database columns. Okay. Now, client expression is like read-only expression, I would say, or it's mainly used to do the on-file calculations in the worksheet. Okay, we'll go with this expression in detail when we try to create multiple series with the different options that will see this expression, client expression. Okay, but most of the cases you play around with the server expression. Rarely we use the client expression. Next is the edit lock expression. So series could be of multiple types. It could be edit series or it could be non-editable series. So if you want to make a series as an editable series based on a condition, okay, condition based locking, like if the series, if the time period is less than the sys date, if you want to lock the series, okay, those kind of expressions you can write here. So based on the, whenever the condition is satisfied, on those conditions you cannot edit the series, or you cannot override the numbers in the series. Then there is a color expression. So whenever you want to color a series, right, for example, if you have a particular series, if the series value is greater than 500, okay, you want to mark it green color, that particular cell, or you want to make it yellow. So those kind of expressions you can give in the color expressions. Okay, so this how the uh, uh, expressions are handled in the expression properties window. And the last one is the security. So this says, right, to which particular user you want to assign this particular series. So right now I have these many users in the system, so I'm assigning this history series to this list of users. So if I create any user, right, this user will be displayed on the left hand side on the available user list. So if you want to assign this series to that particular user, you have to select that user and you have to move it to the right hand side. Then only that series can be accessed or viewed by that particular user. Any questions? Okay, so let me go and create a new series, just for to give a simple demo on this. So we'll try to play around with the different options. Okay, let's try how many things, whatever we can cover today, we can cover that. So there are two ways you can create a series. One is you can create a series from right click on the existing series. You can create a new option, or you can create a create as option. Okay, Yes, can you hear me or not? Hello, Niladri Srini.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So there are two ways you can create a series. One is just right click on the series, use a create as option or a new option. So new option is like it gives a complete blank window, so you have to enter all the stuff manually. Create as option is it just try to create a copy of the existing series. So wherever you want, you can do the modifications to that existing series. Okay, or you can create from the shortcut icon here on top in the menu option. There's something called new option. If I highlight here, but it's not showing. Basically, this also is to create a new uh, series here, which is there on the top left corner. Okay, so let me show you this. So this is how it pop-ups a window. So this is a series ID, uh, which is internally generated. So I'll create one custom series name convention with this tilde symbol. I'm trying to create a new series with history demo, or maybe history demo series history. Then I'll try to rename this internal name also. I'll try to make it as xx underscore demo. Okay, so this is internal name. Then I don't want to make this editable. I just want to make it as a view only series. So whatever the data you see in this series, that's only read only purpose. So you cannot edit the numbers. So to do that, I'll make this stay and focus and non-editable. Okay, I'll go to display properties. So I'll not change anything here. So I'll just keep it as a total only summary, and let's keep everything as is. I want to display the series both in graph and table. So I mentioned as display track table and graph. So I'll move on to the next one. So no elbow as of now. Then here is the place you have to define the properties of this particular series. Okay. Now where you want to define this series, right? So what I'll do is I select the table here. Okay. I want to create on the sales data table. Now when you're trying to select a table, what it will try to say is whether you want to create a new database column for this series or not. Okay, when I click OK, right, so what actually it does is it will try to create an additional column in the sales data table. Okay, so for example, if I query this, if I do the description of the sales data now, so we don't have the demo specific column in this particular column list in the sales data table. So if I try to search with that, you'll not find that. So we created the XX, right, internal name. So there is no series starting with the XX. Okay, I'll go with search with up also. Okay, we don't have anything. So whenever you mark it as okay, right? So what it does internally by default, it will add a new column to the sales data table. So the naming column, so the column naming convention is based on the internal name what we gave in the general properties. Okay, just I'll keep okay for now. Okay, see it has created a column name with the same name XX demo history series history. That's what we gave in the general properties when we defined the a series name, right? So I'll make it available for exception, and I'll make it proportion to history. Okay, just we'll make it as an aggregation, some aggregation function. Now this expression. So before we go, I'll take step back now. So here this update field is there, right? So this update field basically what it suggests is If you are defining a series of override series type, means you are allowing the user to edit the numbers in the series from the worksheet, then this update field is useful. Okay, so whenever you are creating any series of editable type, you have to associate a database column to that particular series. If it's a read-only type measure or read-only type series, right, there's no need to attach the database column. So for timing, since I'm making it as a read-only series, I'll not attach any database column to it. I'll make it blank. Okay, I'll create a numeric type database column. Okay, let it do. I think if you create a column, it will not allow to deselect it. So we should make it cancel, but let it be this one. We'll go for other example later point of time. So if it's a read-only series, this it's not mandatory to have a update field. Okay, you can make it blank also when you are creating the series for the first time. So here is the expression where you have to mention. So to write an expression, just click on this icon here, which is there here on the right side. So just write an expression. It's a simple SQL statements. So just for timing, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use the same column which we use in the history series, so that we can see the data on the worksheet. Okay. So whenever you're writing expression, make sure you validate that expression so that whatever expression you have written is a valid expression or not. So to do that, there is something called verify option. So invalid expression. I think column name is different. Something else sales, I think. One minute, I'll check the database column name. Existing. It's actually underscore quantity. So since I was referring to wrong database column name, it was giving invalid expression. So I'm trying to refer actual underscore quantity from sales data table. So alias name is badge underscore data. So the expression is valid now. So once this is done, just click OK and move on to the next step. So I'm assigning to the DM user. Okay. Just save the details. Okay. Once you do this, so if you want to see this series on the worksheet, what you have to do is you have to bounce the server. Let me do that quickly. It will not take much time.